lounging, son.
Welcome back to the Comic Lounge. My name is Ryan, and with me today, I have a very special guest. I have Ian Chalgren, a name that maybe not all of you will know, but I discovered him through a channel that I'm sure some of the people that watch this channel watch, Cartoonist Kayfabe. Ian put together his own artist edition type book, Ocular Edition, and this is one of them, Uncanny Covers. I'm going to do a separate video where I kind of show this off. I'm sure that if you do know his name, seen it from Cartoonist Kayfabe because they did go through the book. That was a very long intro. But anyways, welcome, Ian, to the Comic Lounge.
Thank you, Ryan. Thanks for reaching out, man. And it's an honor to be on your show. I've really dug deeper into your show when you reached out, and love the vids, man. It's good stuff. It's fun.
Thank you, man. I really appreciate it because I think it's safe to say, much like you, I do it because I love it. I think, it's all about the love for comics. And that's why I do what I do. I'm not trying to become a millionaire. Obviously, I don't think I'm going to be one of those people that makes a living off of YouTube, but that's not why I did it. I just love talking to, comic creators, indie guys, big names, all over the spectrum, editors, designers like yourself. So this is
Sure.
Really awesome. Once I saw that book, that ROM book that you did, I was like, man, that's fucking bitching. And then you did this, and I just wanted to kind of get into the headspace of how you go about doing stuff like this. Just to start, like I do with everybody, I always like to kind of ask, what's your, I don't know, not secret origin, but what's your origin story when it comes to comic books? How did you first become enamored with the medium of comic books?
I got into comics when as a real youngster. I remember my first was 3 years old. I didn't get serious until I was probably 8 or 9. And I quit when I was about 14 or 15. So that would have been in 85. And really had not, I'd pick up a comic here and there. In the 90s, I everybody was looking at comics in the 90s. So I was like, what's this all about? So I started buying some of the McFarlane and Jim Lee stuff, but then I stopped right away. I was just in a drawing class with Jeff Butler, and he used to draw the Badger with Mike Barron over at First Comics. I was taking this drawing class, and he brought in a Alex Toth artist edition. I'm like, what the hell is that? I never seen anything like that. And he's showing it to me, and I was just blown away, absolutely stunned. And that night just kind of changed everything. I'd been doing book design at my day job. I'm like, why don't I design what I want to design? And that's how I ended up doing the books. But yeah, comics, I stopped collecting right in the middle of John Byrne's Fantastic Four run, right in the middle of Walt Simonson's Thor run. It was just, it was silly. But yeah, that's, so my knowledge goes to about 85, from the 40s to about 85, from 85 until now. I'm trying to get back into it, but it's expensive, man.
Yeah, you're telling me, yeah, it's an expensive hobby, to say the least. It can be considered a problem, with some people.
Yeah.
I mean, my wife, I'm sure, I mean, you can't see all my comics, but if you could, you would be like, okay, maybe Ryan, you need to calm down. And it's now, I have the pleasure of working in comics, so it's I get stuff, and then I always was oh man, it'd be cool to work in comics, you get free stuff, and now I'm oh fuck, this is too much. What do I do with it all?
Yeah, right.
So I mean, not a bad problem to have, but yeah, look, comic books, it's my only vice. So I don't have any other vices. I don't do anything else. I don't spend my money on anything else. So if I have any money, it's comic books. So and look, and artist editions too, that's a whole other beast to have an addiction to. And I've seen some people with their collections, and I'm like, man, that's expensive. That's very expensive.
Yeah, the nice books in general are expensive these days. You're gonna spend $50 to $200 on a really nice book. So you got to be choosy.
So so you said you work in book design, right? And you haven't really been into comic books, but how did that career choice, how did that happen for you? And then then you took that, and then you're melding your two loves,
That was kind of a fluke. I work for a Fortune 500 insurance company doing graphic design. I'm the senior art director there, or one of them. There's two of us. And I do a lot of events. I've done a ton of print. And one day, CEO reached out and said he wanted to do a history book on the insurance company. I'm like, that's kind of lame.
Yeah.
But he said, no expense. You got a year to do it. He hooked me up with our author. He was a retired vice president who I got along with real well. And yeah, he gave me a year to do it. Yeah, it's a big ass coffee hardcover, beautifully done, Smythe sewn. It really is my Sistine Chapel so far. I mean, I love the books that I've worked on, but this fucker, my soul went into that thing to get it right, and it's on insurance, the history of an insurance company. So I fell in love with designing books after I did that, and that happened around the same time I saw the artist edition, and I'm like, oh, duh, shit,
Mhm.
do something you love, man.
Was the ROM book, was that your first foray into doing designing and getting your own book printed?
For myself,
Yeah.
yeah. If anyone's wondering what we're talking about,
Yeah.
that was the first one I had printed for myself, and it's all on-demand printing as opposed to this big book I just showed you was offset, much higher quality of the offset. But the on-demand stuff has come so far along. Yeah, this was. I loved ROM growing up, but honestly, Chris Rael is a ROM nerd, and I wanted to get in his pants, so to speak. So I went with ROM, and he took notice. Scott Dunbier took notice, but Chris Rael took a bigger notice, and I've formed a relationship with him at this point too. So that's been awesome.
That's awesome, dude. So, I mean, you said why you did ROM, but what was the process like
Sure.
when you were doing a book like that? Like, you're starting from scratch, you've never put something like that together before in terms of getting original art. Like, I know Scott Dunbier, like he scans from the original art himself. So it's a very different process than like how you went about it. Like, I know a little bit, but I'd love to hear the story straight from you.
Really, it's just I spent all this money on artist editions, and I was just looking through them. And then there's a great website out there, aereviews.com, I believe it is. And Scott, the guy that runs it, takes all these great photos. So I'm able to review all the designs and stuff that like Randy Dahl did, and just kind of check out, try to figure out what was the process, how did that happen. And then I just dove in. I went on 99% of it was from heritageauctions.com and just started right clicking, and much easier than scanning. Threw them all together, probably had like 400 images, ended up tossing a bunch because lots of those were low res. I would have loved to put a whole story together, but some of those scans were just awful. Yeah, and then I just started piecing it together. It was just one step at a time, and I threw all the innards together before I worked on any of the pages that I would design or the cover. And yeah, it was meant just to be a PDF, and that's when I got it to Dunbier and Rael. I decided a couple years after I'd done it, I'm like, hell, let's print it. I looked into how much printing would cost, and it was about $100 a book for 10 of them. And yeah, printed them off and sent some out to some people and got some good encouraging words, and so decided to crank out the second one and try to up it, take it up a notch.
Yeah, dude. I think that I mean, it's just like you see people making comic books, but to think that you could do like that, the technology is there now to where if you put in the time and the effort, you can produce a book of this quality. And the quality, like I mean, I just have to say, it's like it's insane how good this is. Like that somebody could just design this from their house, like not having the originals to scan from, and it looks so good. Like just the end paper, right, or the John Byrne from that Spider-Man cover, like you can see the marker and stuff. Like
Yeah.
I was kind of curious how that was going to come across, and it's like, I mean, you put these up next to any of the artist editions, man. Like in my opinion, like they look great.
It does look nice. The printer I found so the first ROM book was printed in Rochester, New York. I went back to them for a quote to print all my Uncanny covers, and the prices had just skyrocketed. I'm like, okay, well, let's not try and print in New York. So I got a word from a friend about this place in Nebraska. And so I reached out to him. And yeah, this dude out there, Martin Pugh at Marathon Press in Nebraska. Oh, God, I forget the town. He babysat the book for me. He was totally into it. Thought it was cool. It was a super, super small project for them. They're a huge printer and it's all digital. And their stuff, it just came out spectacular. I was like, wow.
So
So very,
what?
very pleased. It's
Yeah,
key, it's key to who's printing it. I went to Kinko's, it wouldn't have been that nice, right?
yeah, definitely not. So what was the difference okay, so like you got a good response from ROM, right? Like, did that lead anywhere to any like any gigs in comics?
Well, hilarious that it went on. I sent Ed and Jim one
Yeah.
just for the hell of it. I had sent them emails before, said, hey, I want to design something for you guys, whatever. So finally I'm like, I sent them one, never dreaming that they would put on a show. It's a show about comics and art and that kind of stuff. And when it came on, I was like, holy shit. That got me a lot of exposure, and a lot of people, a dozen or so people reached out with projects, but there were nothing I wanted to do, or they didn't have any money. My goal is to retire here, hopefully in the next few years, and do this full time and make a living at it. I'm just trying to set myself up so I hit the ground running when I retire. The Uncanny Covers was a lot more exposure and a lot more emails, and real jobs are happening right now that are super cool and I'm super excited about. But the ROM was great because it was kind of a test run, to figure out the process, what has to happen. And Uncanny Covers went off without a hitch. So super pleased and got some work now and got my eye on a date for retirement. But we'll see.
Yeah.
Life happens, right?
So how did you just so you went from doing like interior pages with the ROM book, right, to now just doing straight covers. How did you decide? First of all, why did you decide to go with covers? Second of all, how
Sure.
did you decide which artists you wanted to
Yeah.
include?
Yeah. The covers was easy because when I get an artist edition, I go right to the covers. I love the covers. I mean, I like all the other pages too, especially if it's a story or if it's John Byrne. I'll stare at his stuff all day. But I just wanted to do a covers book. I have the IDW covers books that they've put out and love them. And they just really stand out. And people dig covers, more than a page of 6 panels of people talking and stuff, which is super neat that we can access that. I'm pointing at all my artist editions over there. Covers was a no-brainer, absolute no-brainer for me to do that. And as far as picking artists, I mean, I had, I don't know, a couple dozen artists, and I was right clicking, and then I went through my folders and see what I got. And I also tried to not duplicate what IDW had done. I did there was a few in there that were duplicated that I found out afterwards. I thought I had it all nailed, but so that kind of limited me to basically, I covered people like Frank Bruner, which IDW doesn't really have. I haven't seen any books on that. Marie Severin, artists I super dig. And, like I was able to do the Barry Windsor Smith Conan stuff. Well, IDW might not be able to do that because Conan is a separate license. It's not Marvel's,
Mhm.
So I threw a bunch of Barry Windsor Smith Conan in there. So it was based on what I love, what IDW hadn't done, or Dynamite, or any of these other companies that make these books, and but mostly what I love. I want something that I want to look at.
For sure. And you made variants.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
Can
crazy.
I grab them? Can we grab
Yeah,
them?
I'd love to see them. Yeah.
So you had
Yes.
the burn. So each of the logos too. So this was an Alpha Flight number 10. And
Hmm.
I did Uncanny Covers in the same style as the Alpha Flight logo. So I tried to match the logos of the comics of the time. This logo was a bitch, by the way. But and then the first one was Kirby Avengers. It doesn't start with an A, but I still got it to kind of look like the Avengers. logo.
Yeah, it looks dope.
If it started with an A, that'd be great. The Doctor Strange,
Oh yeah.
yeah, that was fun. And Rick Severin, Hulk. This was the easiest look. Found out that's just a freaking font. It's not even a. No one designed it. They just typed a font.
Oh wow.
So the variants had to happen. IDW has variants. I'm like, yeah, I got all these comics come out in variants. I'm like, I got to do variants, man. It's digital printing. Why wouldn't I?
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean it's already cool that you made the book, but then to do 5 different versions
Yeah.
of it is just
I'm,
that's awesome.
Thank you. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm pleased. The glow is kind of gone. I'm moving on to other stuff and excited about other stuff, but I'm very proud of those. So thank you.
So have you thought about like what you want to do? Are you doing something next? Are you working on another ocular edition?
I have another ocular edition in mind, and I don't want to say what it is
Okay.
because I don't want anyone to beat me to it.
Mhm.
But it's not going to be original artwork. I think I'm going to focus on one artist and just do that artist's color covers, which there are many of. The problem is I don't know when I'm going to get to it. I got other projects now, real projects that are paying real money. So I have it in the back of my mind and it's always brewing, and someday, hopefully soon, I'll be able to start cranking on that because I this is an artist that everybody knows, but they don't know. And that was evident through a conversation I've been having with Chris Rael recently about this artist. He's just like, this dude is in my blind spot. He's like, I had no idea how awesome this guy is. So I'm excited. I'll stop talking about it. I don't want to say who it is. I want to.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, I just think it's cool, like that you have all these different kind of ideas. Like you started with ROM, did some covers. Now you want to do color covers. I think that's pretty cool to kind of spotlight a specific artist because you're doing something different with each one. First, it was like the character of ROM, right, with Sal Buscema. Then the covers, multiple artists, and then jumping back to a singular artist. I think that's something I definitely can't wait to see. Is there any of the projects that you have started working on, the paying projects? I know you've kind of teased a little bit on your Instagram, but is there anything you can talk about that you're working on right now?
Well, right now, today, there's a book put out by Paul Cornell and Ryan Kelly called Saucer Country. It was a Vertigo book back in the 2000s. And then it got canceled. IDW picked it up. They did another 6 issues to try to finish the story, and then IDW canceled it. Well, Paul and Ryan got around to finishing the story with one final comic. And I'm working with Paul and Chris Rael, and we're putting together an omnibus. It's a big, thick thing. It'll have all 21 issues in it. So I'm working on that now. I have 2 designs. I have a third one, which I'm really loving, but Paul is being very patient with me right now. So I want to get this third one done and get those off to him. That should come out yet this year. That was a Zoop thing that they signed up on for that. I've also had 2 private citizens reach out to me. One is a guy who does photography and like entertainment photography in New York City, and he wants me to do a book on all his stuff. And then one is a guy out in California who owns his own massive art collection, original comic book art, and he wants me to make a book of his stuff. He has so much original art. I'm talking like Kirby and Ditko and stuff like that. He's like, I want to make a book like that. So working on those. And then a guy named John Lynn reached out to me, and or I reached out to him and he responded. That doesn't always happen.
Yeah.
And he's got some books that I can't talk about. I actually signed an NDA for Dark Horse that we're going to be working on. These are going to be super neat. And then lastly, I'm working with some ex-IDW guys, John Barber and Nate Murray. They work at a publisher called Erasmus Fox right now. And they have me working on an artist edition. We're not going to call it an artist edition, but it's going to be a big ass, 12 by 17 book that is going to make some people out there in the artist edition blogs and forums very, very happy. I probably could talk about it, but it's not mine to talk about. I didn't sign an NDA. They're going to do a Kickstarter on that, and that Kickstarter, I bet, it's got to come out in the next month or two. So,
Okay.
and then yeah, I'm super busy, and then I got my day job, and then I'm
Busy
doing
man.
comics for Rael's imprint Syzygy, lettering and designing. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I spend way too much time down here in my lair. It's yeah, I put on about 25 pounds, and it's just other things are suffering. Let me put it that way, but it's all good.
Yeah, dude, it sounds like you're a busy man, and it's awesome to see that something you did just for like the passion of it and the love of it has now enabled you to kind of work on these things and get paid to do it. I mean,
Sure.
it's the dream that everybody has. You know, maybe everybody has different dreams of what they want to do in comic
Yeah.
books, but everybody that's really loves comic books, I don't think anybody has said, I don't really want to work in comics. I think everybody that loves comics would always love to at least
Sure.
one time in their life do it. And I think it's awesome to see what has come from just you having fun and putting a book together. It's great.
Yeah, it's I'm finding out real quickly it's key to life, and I wish I would have figured this out as a youngster, even though my parents did tell me do what you want to do. It's life changing to love what you do
Yep.
rather than do something just to get paid.
Yeah, I
It's a
know.
completely different thing, and I'm so excited. I mean, I love my day job. I love the people I work with. It's that company has been very, very good to me. I've been there almost 24 years. But I cannot wait to get the fuck out and do this
Yeah.
full time, man. It's so much fun.
That's awesome, dude. I would be remiss if I didn't ask you what some of your favorite artist editions are, since we're here talking about your ocular editions. I would love to hear what some of your favorites are.
Probably the Buscema Silver Surfer. That was my first. That Silver Surfer run is my favorite run. My second, and that goes back and forth. Then it's John Byrne's X-Men. Those two, though, I got more back here. I'm looking at my Wally Wood stories. That was a pricey son of a
I
bitch.
love Wally Wood, man.
Yeah, that was great. Those all the EC ones are fantastic, but the Byrne, the John Buscema Silver Surfer, maybe throw in Miller's Daredevil, or yeah, they're great. They're just so much fun.
Yeah, I think
What about
it's
you? What are your favorite artist
I
editions,
don't
man?
have a ton, but I'm trying to think of what I have. So I have the Jim Lee X-Men. I got the Spider-Man by McFarlane. I
Mhm.
have the Michael Golden one that just came out. I got the
Yeah,
reprint of the Daredevil, Frank Miller. Probably I would say I love my Jaime Hernandez, the one that Fantagraphics put together, the Love and Rockets.
yeah.
Yeah, that they call theirs studio editions. But
Okay.
yeah, that one is just I just love Jaime Hernandez so much. So like that one,
Yeah,
I just like it's that is my favorite. And then I have the Ed Piscor, the studio edition one too of that.
I don't have that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't tell Ed. I did just get this guy. I mean,
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I haven't even seen
yeah.
I did see it at a con, but I didn't get to flip through it because it was sealed.
Oh, yeah, it's stunning. It's so thick. I got the signed one from Frank Miller. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
You kill somebody with this thing.
Yeah, the only thing I love seeing it at its original size, but I do have to say it's like you have to go sit at a table when you're gonna look at it. See, it's not like you like at night, I'm reading my comics. That's what I do love about the artisan editions that IDW does, the
Agreed.
smaller ones,
Yep.
because especially as some of those ones are out of print, like I know they're gonna have the Bill Sienkiewicz, the New Mutants one.
Yeah.
I can't wait to look at that because I've seen like them covered on the Kayfabe channel, but like that book is like in $300 some now.
Yeah, that's unaffordable. Yep.
Yeah, and then my buddy of mine that has done some videos, like I don't own them, but I really like them, is the David Mazzucchelli Daredevil,
Mm-hmm.
the
Yep.
Chris Somney Daredevil, and then the Sam Keith Max.
Oh, yeah.
Those are pretty awesome as well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, they're all wonderful. I mean, if I see one, if I'm out anywhere and I see one for under $100, I typically just nab it if I don't have it.
I totally get it, man. If
Yeah.
it's especially if you can get a deal like that, and sometimes
Yeah.
you can. So
Yep. Yep.
um So, I mean, look, I know you're a busy man. I know you got a lot going on, but you said you kind of had a break from comics. Has this kind of reignited your love for comics? Are you back checking out some of the more modern stuff, or are you still kind of just like firmly entrenched in just like the creative aspect of like book design?
No, I'm into some of the newer stuff. The problem is the comic book selling. The comic book stores have changed in that one of them that's closest to me in Madison. I live in Madison, Wisconsin. I go there. If you're not there on Wednesday by noon, it's sold out. And he only orders enough. He doesn't want to get stuck with 5 extra copies.
Mm-hmm.
So I go there and it's like I have issues 1 through 3 of whatever, and he doesn't have 4. And so then I go the next time and I get 5. So the only way for me to get 4 is to order it online. And then finding an online store that has all the ones I need and just to get it in one deal, it's
Yeah.
impossible. So it's a little there's some cool stuff that I have checked out that I was into. The Vanish comic I thought was awesome. Donnie Cates, I believe.
And Ryan Stegman, yeah.
And yeah, that was cool. And I only got like the first 4 issues of that. I need to finish that up. Love Everlasting,
Tom
King,
Elsa
and
Shard.
yeah, that's neat. I love her art. And then I don't know the stuff I've been working on, Hitomi and All Against All for Chris Rael. I thought those are really neat books. So yeah, I'll pick something up here and there, especially if I hear some crazy good stuff online. I'm like, all right, I'll go check it out and see if I can get a copy.
For sure.
But they're $4 or $5 a piece. I'd rather take $4 or $5 and fill a hole in my Frank Miller run, for Daredevil or something like that. They're lovely. I wish I could buy them all, but
yeah, I totally get it. I go back and forth. I'm like, maybe I should just stop getting so many new comics and just fill in my holes and the runs that I have. But then I'm like, then I realize how expensive some of that is just to fill, like, get one issue to fill a hole. But
yeah.
I go back and forth there. I mean, look, there's always good comics, whether it's getting old stuff, getting new stuff. I just want to thank you again for, jumping on here, talking some comics with me real quick and talking about your Ocular editions. I think they're fucking dope. I can't wait to see what else I get to see your name on in the indicia when all these new projects you're talking about come out. But for everybody listening and watching, can you tell them where they can find you online so they can stay up to date? And I'll drop those links down below.
Yeah, sure. My Instagram is at Ian Chalgren, IANCHALGREN. I have a Twitter X account, but wasn't getting much mileage out of that. So it's there again. It's Ian Chalgren, and then I'm on LinkedIn too. I'm pretty active on LinkedIn, and Instagram would be the two things. And then if you want to see, if you want to download a free PDF of either of the Ocular editions I made, you can go to my Behance page. If you just search Behance Ian Chalgren, you can find that out there. And I have free downloads of that and photos and other good stuff up there too. So I need to fill that Behance site up more with stuff, but there's never time.
Yep. All right, man. Well, I just want to thank you again, dude. It's been a blast talking with you, and yeah, we'll definitely do this when you can talk about some of those mystery projects. We'll go through them together.
Right on. Thanks for having me on, Ryan. I love the channel and super, super honored to get that email from you that day. I'm like, oh, hell yeah, let's do this.
Awesome,
So
dude.
thank you.